Hello, everyone. For those who are in the live right now, we'll start shortly, but meanwhile, please put your first and last name as well as your chapter in the chat so we can take attendance. Thank you. Hello, everyone. For those who are joining, please make sure to put your first and last name as well as your chapter so we can take attendance. And we'll be starting exactly at 7 p.m. Hello, everyone. We're going to be starting in a minute, so last minute check. Please make sure you put your first and last name as well as the chapter, and we'll be starting in 1 minute. Okay, so now that it's 7 p.m., we're going to get started. We'll start off with introduction, starting with Region 1.
My name is Harleen Carr, and I'm the Region 1 Vice President.
Hi, I'm Claire Sue, and I'm your Region 2 Vice President.
Hi, I'm Ruhani Daswal, and I'm your Region 3 Vice President.
Hi, my name is Sahej Kaur, and I'm your Region 4 Vice President.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ankita Katarkar, and I'm your Region 5 Vice President.
Hello, everyone. My name is Valentina, and I am your state parliamentarian.
Hey everyone, I'm Abhirami Nair, and I'm your State Secretary.
Hi, everyone. My name is Caitlin Lafont, and I am your Post-Secondary Collegiate Vice President.
Hi, everyone. My name is Diana Nguyen, and I'm your State Vice President.
And hi, everyone. My name is Matthew Kim, and I'm your state president. So now that we've done our introductions, we'll get started with our overview. So we're going to cover, we have loads of fun announcements for you guys. First, we're going to go over state officer candidacy. And if you're interested in becoming a state officer, stay tuned for that. Next, we'll be going over CYC once more. And then we'll be going over everything you need to know for our Guatemala project. And there's some changes from last year, so stay tuned for that. And lastly, we'll talk about trinket trading, which you guys did at our SLC last year. And then we'll wrap up with a Q&A session to end it up.
All right, so the first topic on our agenda is state officer candidacy. So the state officer application submission window is coming up. Applications for state office open on December 1st of 2024 and will close on February 1st of 2025. There are multiple exams, documents, and materials that you will need to submit, so keep these and your deadlines in mind. We will be going over those materials in a bit. The positions available on the team are state president, state vice president, state secretary, state parliamentarian, post-secondary collegiate vice president, and the regional vice presidents for regions 1 through 5. The application guide can be found on the Cal-HOSA website. The link is provided on the slide. This guide includes more detailed information on deadlines, requirements, expectations, and logistics relating to becoming a state officer. So please check that out if you are interested.
Speaking of the requirements, all applicants must be enrolled in a career technical education or CTE course. Post-secondary applicants must be enrolled in a CTE program or health science career major if in a post-secondary institution. You must be an active HOSA member in good standing, a current or former local chapter officer, have HOSA as your primary student organization, meaning you cannot be a local or state officer for another organization. You must have a minimum 2.5 GPA maintained throughout your term, have signed support from your advisor, school administration, and parents. Importantly, no more than 2 candidates can run from the same chapter.
In terms of next steps following submission of your application, you'll be required to take the state officer exam during the SLC testing window and score a 75% or above. This test will include HOSA history, parliamentary procedure, and HOSA bylaws. You'll also be required to take the organizational leadership exam in addition to your Blue events for SLC. This includes content on voting delegate responsibilities, HOSA Inc., and HOSA history. If you pass the state officer exam, you'll then film and send your campaign video to Cal-HOSA. It'll be posted on our official YouTube channel. Do not post this on any other form of social media. And we'd like to reiterate that there is no campaigning at all, and this includes on social media and at SLC. This will forfeit your candidacy and you'll no longer be considered for state office.
If you have any questions about the candidacy process, feel free to reach out to any current or past state officers. Current state officer emails can be found on the Cal-HOSA website. You can also reach out to any of the state officers via social media or the Cal-HOSA Instagram. You may also contact the state officer coach, Miss Ashley Jest at ashleyhosa@gmail.com.
Now going into CYC announcements, the CYC attestation form has been sent out to advisors. So please let your advisors know and be sure to fill this out to receive recognition at SLC and your ribbons. As some reminders on the challenge guidelines, make sure that you share activities that showcase the 4 core values of HOSA: learn, lead, serve, and innovate. Post at least 3 photos or videos that showcase at least 20% of your chapter. And remember to use the hashtag CYC in your value, such as hashtag CYCLearn and tag at California HOSA on Instagram. And here are some examples of CYC submissions that we've received in past years.
Guatemala Project. So, what is the Guatemala Project and what are some guidelines? California HOSA is partnering with Nevada HOSA to carry out this year's Guatemala Project. This project is basically a service project that aims to bring essential kits to communities in Guatemala that are in need. This year, California HOSA's goal is to collect 1,500 oral hygiene kits. So each kit will include the following: toothbrushes, travel-sized toothpaste, travel-sized mouthwash, and thread floss. Huge emphasis on the fact that we are only taking thread floss. We are not collecting floss picks.
Chapters will be verbally recognized during the recognition ceremony at the SLC based on how many kits they collect. For the bronze level recognition, a chapter must submit 25 to 74 completed kits. For silver level recognition, a chapter must submit 75 to 124 completed kits. And for gold level recognition, a chapter must submit 125 or more kits. These kits will be collected at this year's State Leadership Conference.
Finding these supplies can be challenging, so here are some ideas to help you collect your supplies for the Guatemala oral kits. First of all, you can go to your local pharmacy or dentist office and talk to the manager or owner. Some large pharmacy chains also have websites where you can apply for donations and supplies. Next, you can also contact local restaurants and run fundraisers through them. Use the money collected to help buy the supplies for the first aid kits. You can also partner with community service clubs like National Honor Society, Key Club, Z Club, and others to run school drives for community service hours. Use social media and local high school television to promote your drive. The flyer on the right is an example flyer that you can possibly make to help promote your drive.
A small note, we are aware that some chapters have already started making first aid kits, which is what we did last year for the Guatemala Service Project. If your chapter has already started making first aid kits and not oral hygiene kits, that is okay, we will still take them. Please feel free to bring those to SLC so that we can collect them and they will count towards your recognition.
Okay. This year, Cal-HOSA is once again continuing our Friendship Cal-HOSA's version, which is our trinket trading network initiative. And this networking initiative we started last year at SLC, where chapters were able to bring small items such as bracelets or keychains that they would trade with other chapters as well as us, the state officers. And it would encourage networking and an opportunity for members to get to know people from all over California. And of course, your state officers, as I mentioned, aren't empty-handed. So at SLC, be on the lookout for us and what we have to trade.
Just some important reminders. You can trade any positive gift, but make sure there are no profanities, no inappropriate words, or food or candy. You can trade anytime during the conference except during competition, general sessions, workshops, and after curfew. Here are a couple examples from last year and some ideas for you to use this year as well.
All right, now we will open it up for any questions you might have. I know we shared a lot of information with you guys, so I'm sure you have some questions. So please feel free to type any of them in the chat and we will try to get them answered. And we want to emphasize that the purpose of these seminars is so that we can connect with you guys and so that you guys can ask any questions that you have. So please do not shy away. Please feel free to send any questions in. All right, looks like we have our first question that is regarding the state officer positions. Is it only 2 people from each chapter for each position or for all of them in total? So for this question, basically the process is that 2 candidates can only get endorsed from each chapter. There is no slating of positions, so it's two candidates per chapter for all positions available, not for each one.
We saw another question above saying, how do you recommend getting supplies for Guatemala fundraiser? Sahej, I think you did that slide. Did you want to talk about that?
Yeah, for sure. So one thing that I remember our chapter did last year was they hosted a drive. So they partnered with a club on our campus called Key Club. And basically through that drive, they partnered and they told kids that if you donate certain items, you would be able to get service hours that you could put towards NHS or Key Club or anywhere that you might need service hours. There was also a restaurant fundraiser that we did where we partnered with a restaurant and basically 20% of their funds were given to us on a certain day and we were able to use those funds to buy supplies needed for the kids.
Something else. Oh, sorry, Matthew. Something else that I know my school is doing is we've reached out to our local dentist offices and they have a bunch of extra supplies that they're willing to donate. So that is another very good resource that you can use. And looks like we have our next question. What initiatives or projects have you found to be the most impactful during your time as a state officer? And how did you ensure that they aligned with HOSA's missions and goals? That is a very good question. I will let Caitlin and Harleen go ahead and talk about that.
I can go ahead and start. So one of my favorite initiatives, or I guess a kind of a project as well, that I've done during my time as a state officer was, and I'm looking forward to it again this year, was our Friendship Cal-HOSA's version initiative, because the whole thing behind it is that it encourages networking not only between you guys, the members, but for you guys to connect with us, the state officers as well, because we, much like all of you, are members. We, much like many of you, are in high school and we want to be medical professionals. So it's a great opportunity for us to connect with you guys and for you guys to connect with other members and form that bond. So you guys have support from members all over the state who have similar goals as you. And it aligns with HOSA's mission and goals because ultimately, while HOSA is a lot of competition with all of the competitions, it's going back to those core values, kind of connecting to CYC, and that bond that you get in the organization because, again, you have all these members who want to be health professionals and, connect with you on that level. So it provides that networking and that opportunity for members.
For me, although it's not exactly during my time as a state officer, but CYC was really one of my favorite things because my chapter and we got to bond a lot over doing certain activities to fulfill all four core values. And just doing that together, I think brought my chapter together a lot closer. And we also got very cool ribbons, so it was awesome.
Yes, I agree with both of you guys. Both of those initiatives have been super impactful. All right, next question. This is also a very good question. What do state officers do exactly? All right, I will have Diana and Valentina take this away.
Yeah, I can start off. Just a lot of our work is very social media heavy. So as a state officer, you'll be running the Cal-HOSA social media accounts. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and X. So that includes creating posts, posting them, and just planning those out for the year. And also creating and promoting state officer initiatives for the year, which is our program of work. So that includes continuing legacy work that other teams have initiated and building upon those, as well as creating new ideas that we would like to launch for the chapter. And then I think Valentina can add a few more.
Yes, 100%. Like Diana said, it is very social media heavy. And so we are in charge of a lot of promoting our scholarships, promoting a lot of our initiatives, but also as a state officer, you will have to speak at conferences, not just state leadership conference, but also the fall leadership conference. So it involves having a lot of public speaking. We also have some commitments like weekly virtual meetings, and we also have officer trainings that are spread out throughout the year to try and plan for the state leadership conference. And yeah.
And then just one note to end off, besides just the physical work, like the monetary work that we do and the physical work, being a state officer is representing California HOSA on the national and international level. This includes not only our state conferences, but also Washington Leadership Academy, where we can connect with state officers from all across the country, as well as ILC on an international level.
Thank you, guys. I hope that provided some clarity. Next question. When did the Guatemala project start? Matthew?
Yeah, so the Guatemala project from California HOSA actually started last year. It was one of our state officer team's initiative with Nevada HOSA, but it's not something that is completely new. It's been something that's been done for quite a while now by Global Medical Squads, which is an international nonprofit partner that Nevada actually partnered up with first. And through that, they've been able to connect with international HOSA, as well as different states such as Colorado, District of Columbia. So yeah, they've been actually doing it for quite a while, but California itself, we partnered with them last year to start something new. So yeah.
All right, next question. How do we recommend getting people excited and wanting to participate in these initiatives? Ruhani?
Yes. So I personally recommend using social media to gain chapter engagement with these initiatives. Whenever more people know of a project, you're more likely to get more participation and people more excited to, uh, participate in these initiatives. It also doesn't hurt to add incentives, whatever that may look like at your chapter, to encourage members to participate.
All right, next question. Kind of on the same line here, what are some strategies you guys utilize to keep your meetings and events engaging and fun? Sahej?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things that you can do in your chapter or wherever you are to keep your meetings engaging and fun is really, this is going to sound a little funny, but engaging activities. So doing bonding events, having games that get people moving and talking to others is really the best way for your members, for your team to really get to know each other, for them to have fun and engage. And really meeting new people is a great way to make connections, learn new things that you can bring back into yourself and your chapter.
All right, next question. What advice would you give to someone running for a state officer position to stand out in the application and interview process? I think we'll take this opportunity for each of us to share or impart some advice. So it's more on a personal level. So we'll start off with Caitlin.
My main one piece of advice to share with you guys is you'll also hear the coaches say it all the time is know your why. So why you want to run for Cal-HOSA and be a state officer other than a resume builder. So what keeps you going in HOSA, why you love the organization so much and what makes you want to be a state officer.
I would say my biggest piece of advice is just to be authentic. And also, the coaches do tell us a lot to speak from your heart and not your head because everything else will come naturally. So, if you're sticking to your true self and you really let your passions and your purpose shine in that, then everyone will be able to see it. The voting delegates, the membership as a whole, and just it'll show.
Yeah, yeah, I agree 100%. I recommend remember your goals, be confident in yourself, and have conviction, and know why you're doing this because that really will carry you far when things maybe get hard.
I would say really enjoy the process because SLC, you'll have a lot to do as a state officer candidate, and make sure you really enjoy the process, show that you're having fun, and the voting delegates will really pick up on that and know how much you love HOSA and what you have done.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's really just about being yourself. And whenever you're answering questions in the interview process, make it really personalized. Talk about your experiences in HOSA, or it can be outside of HOSA, but show your personality pretty much, and your motivation to run for state office.
Yes, and building on that, a big advice that I'd have is don't feel intimidated. The biggest part of the application is having the commitment and drive to contribute to Cal-HOSA. So keep that in mind as you move forward.
I would say don't give up and also don't be scared to network at SLC and be your authentic self and don't be too stressed with the result at the end.
I think from me, going through this process twice, I think the one thing I can tell you guys to do is just be confident in why you're applying and be confident when you talk, and talk slow. Don't get pressured to just because there's a panel in front of you. Just be yourself and talk slow. Yeah.
I would say it's really important to have fun during this entire process because when is the next time you're ever going to be talking to a bunch of people, make a video about yourself, or do everything throughout the process? So, really taking it in stride, having fun, enjoying what you're doing. The process might be intimidating, but really just going through everything and really learning from your experience can be really helpful.
All wonderful points made. I would say, especially in terms of standing out, especially because there is the very strict no campaigning policy, networking is super, super important. It will carry you throughout the conference and throughout the application process or the candidacy process. Don't be shy to make new friends and go talk to new people, because I guarantee you that they will remember you when they go to vote for you. So make yourself memorable and be confident in who you are and why you're running, and be confident in the fact that you can make it, because it shows. And that's what makes you a more memorable candidate. So I hope that was helpful. we'll go on to the next question. What do you think are some important values that members should have when when considering becoming a state officer? So we'll have Abby and Claire share their insights.
So I would say you definitely have to be authentic and you also have to be committed because being a state officer is a lot of work. It's worth it, but it is a lot of work, and you need to have the dedication to really stay with that. But most importantly, I would say you have to be someone who cares. You have to care about your initiatives, you have to care about what you're doing, and most importantly, care about the members that you are representing on national, international levels.
Yeah, definitely. I think that you really have to have a desire to contribute to something bigger than yourself. The heart of HOSA is absolutely its members, and your decision to run for officership is a strong indication that you're willing to be not only a leader, but a representative and an advocate willing to put as much time and effort as it takes to make that possible.
All right, next question. How do we keep ourselves calm and composed enough during presentations to effectively communicate with your audience, and what strategies do we use? This is a really good question, and I know a lot of us on the team, and I'm sure this is a very relevant issue for a lot of other people. Um, Talking in front of people is scary. Public speaking can be scary at times, and I think for me, what has helped the most is always knowing that I have my team to bounce off of. And I think this goes true for any leadership team that you're a part of, but when I tell you, the state officer team, you got, if you make the team, like you will become the bestest of friends. Like we have so much fun together and they're always such confidence boosters. And it's just knowing that at the end of the day, whatever happens, I always have my team to fall back on, and I always have them to lift my spirits and to make me feel better about myself. They help going into any presentations and coming out of any presentations, just knowing that you have a support system there for you. And the same thing goes the other way, right? Making sure that you're always there for your team members when they are maybe feeling scared or apprehensive about presenting, because that is something that we have to do a lot as state officers. And this is an example of that. The Cal-HOSA Connect, we just had our FLCs just now. And then we have, our state leadership conferences, international conferences. So yeah.
Yeah, and just to add on that aspect of having your team to fall back on, building that trust is really, really important. And just having a dynamic to the point where you can finish each other's sentences and you can bridge off each other in a presentation or a workshop. You really do build those team building skills that kind of allow you to support one another. And then just the biggest thing I think for me is having fun, because when you're speaking in workshops and presentations, you have to remember that you're talking to people and they're not like from some faraway world, but they're people just like you. So really focus on having fun and making those connections and networking, because at the end of the day, they're there because they want to listen to you and because you have something meaningful to say. And just one more tip is to focus on growth, because you're not everyone's going to be perfect the first time around, but we really want to emphasize that mistakes are okay and they're part of being human. And at the end of the day, they make you a better public speaker for the next time around. And they really just make you into a better leader in general.
All right, next question. What are some habits that you encourage people to develop when it comes to managing burnout and stress? Very good question. We'll have Ruhani cover this one.
Yeah, so I'd say remember to give yourself mental breaks amidst a hectic schedule. It is important to prioritize yourself, whether it's going out with friends or listening to music, that looks like for you. But at the same time, managing your time with reminders and schedules helps decrease the stress when you're more organized.
All right. Next question. How can I build confidence when running for state office? Caitlin?
Again, know your why and what really pushed you and made you commit to your decision to run for state office is really important and really contributes to the confidence that you will have and you will gain throughout the process of running for state officer. And having a support system is really great, which a lot of the time comes from your chapter and your advisors who support you in running, and even the running process is really great and builds that confidence that you will, like, again, gain and have throughout that process. So
And also piggybacking off of that, once you have your support system within your own chapter, I highly suggest you guys create a new support system from at SLC. I know one of the requirements is to get the votes from the voting delegates, but instead of thinking it like that, if you guys make connections, network with others, you'll ultimately feel like you're talking to your friends who will support your back running for state office. So I highly suggest you network with other people at SLC.
Thanks, guys. And before we move on with the rest of our questions, I'm just going to add a small reminder for those of you who joined in just now or kind of midway through the presentation. Make sure you enter your name and your chapter in the chat just so that we can keep track. If you already have, no need to do it again. Just if you haven't already, then please do that. We'll get back to the questions now. Am I allowed to serve as a HOSA state officer while holding leadership position in another global organization?
So, sorry. So no. We would prefer it if you had host as your primary organization. So meaning if you are an officer for another organization, local or international, that's we would like HOSA for you to for we would like for HOSA to be your priority.
Another thing that we can add, or another note to add, is that oftentimes the reason that we encourage HOSA to be your number one priority, aside from school, of course, during your term as state officer, is because a lot of times with other leadership positions, workload and conferences or meetings can overlap. And when you're signing into your position as state officer, you're basically saying that you're committing yourself to HOSA, at least for that year, for that term. HOSA is your top extracurricular priority. So just to prevent any cases of overlap, and to prevent you guys having to sacrifice anything, we would prefer it if HOSA was your only um, leadership position during your term as a state officer. And with that, I think that was the end of our questions. So we'll have Matthew wrap up our seminar.
Yeah, so if there's no more questions, we would like to thank everyone for joining our second Cal-HOSA Connect. If one of your friends or advisors weren't able to make it, we will have another seminar next Tuesday, the 19th at 7 p.m. So yeah, we'll be live at that time. So we'll be sending these slides with further information to all advisors. So please look out for that. And if you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to any of us or please message our Cal-HOSA Instagram. Once again, we would like to thank everyone for joining and have a good rest of your evening. And we hope to see you at our next seminar in February.